but they talked to Dan Campbell today, and the sense that I got was that there were people out there, but once they got put through the Lions filter, which is fit, culture, character, ability. Once they went through the whole Lions, five characteristics in order to be a Lion. It kind of the sense that I got was that they kind of said, "Hey, we got the guys that we already have here aren't that far apart from the guys that we could trade for."
What up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Full Metal Analysis. Trade deadline. Man, trade deadline happened. Some big moves were made. Unfortunately, none of them happened by the Detroit Lions. But we said this, Marcus, like, we would be surprised if Brad did make any moves, but also we wouldn't be that surprised if Brad did make no moves. And I heard videos and people were going off like people were upset that Brad did nothing. I ain't gonna say he did nothing, but we got a backup tackle, but nothing really substantial. How you feeling about the trade deadline, man?
People are
angry. For the Lions.
Yeah, no, people are definitely angry. I understand where their anger comes from because, I'm a type of guy that I try to get out in front of everything. If I see something on the horizon, I have no problem paying attention to that and thinking that it could be a sign of things to come. I try to extrapolate, if that's the word, anything I can from anything I get. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. I harped on the Pistons, and they've been playing pretty good right now. So it might have been one game, might have been too quick a pull of the trigger, but it's a long season ahead of us. So I'm still keeping my eye on them, but they are doing good right now. But one thing that I guess I've been on the forefront of is Brad Holmes' philosophy as a GM. We've had numerous debates on the merits and the drawbacks of the Brad Holmes GM philosophy. Like you said, man, a lot of people are highly upset because they did expect Brad Holmes to do something, and I got to be honest. Like you said, we talked about it, and I told you I was listening to the radio, and I told you that I felt a strong conviction from the people on the radio that he was going to do something, and I was like, oh, okay, okay, hey, maybe I'm somewhere, left field.
Yeah, we've been Lions fans for the whole regiment that Brad Holmes has been here. If you don't know Brad by now, you ain't been paying attention.
Yeah. So Brad Holmes didn't do anything. He picked up a guy off of New England Patriots practice squad. No deals were made. And I can't, I would love to get on here and argue back and forth with you. I will say that I would have liked them to make a move. I would have, and I can't give you a reason where you're gonna be like, yeah, you're right on that. The only thing that I could say is that at this point, every Lions fan is on board the idea of this team can win a Super Bowl. So, the only debate is the merits of, does it matter to give your team and I mean, it would give the team a boost, but it would actually more so give your fan base a boost. Just seeing a move being made, it would give just some spark, because especially this week, coming off the Minnesota Vikings loss, a lot of fans were freaking out, and a lot of fans were looking at Brad Holmes too, and then you couple that with a trade deadline where you don't do anything. The fans are highly upset, and I understand it.
So look, it's funny that you said that you said every Lions is aboard the train that the Lions can win the Super Bowl. But like after the trade deadline, after Brad didn't do anything, I saw a lot of videos, a lot of people saying that with Brad not making a move, some fans don't think that we can win the Super Bowl with Taylor Decker being hurt, with Mahogany going down, and no moves being made. Kind of, they're like, yeah, we're a good team, but are we a Super Bowl team? Like, it's a lot of people jumping ship on Goff now. You know what I'm saying? Goff is a guy that needs everything to win, and we no longer have a strong line. The running game is not what it's been. And a lot of people are basically saying the same thing what we said about Johnny Morton, but they're turning on Johnny Morton. So I got to ask you, with no moves being made, are you still as confident about the Lions team being a Super Bowl team? I still think they're a Super Bowl team. I still think we can win the Super Bowl. I will say that I'm a little taken back about our offensive line being hurt, but I'm still aboard the ship that we can win the Super Bowl. But how are you feeling about it?
So I said a couple of videos ago that I looked at the trade deadline as Amazon Prime Day, or you could say Black Friday. Everybody gets excited for Black Friday. Everybody gets excited for Prime Day. But when you look at it, it's all the same stuff it was last year. It's stuff that you'll buy and you'll use it a couple times, and then it'll fade off into the distance. But then there's that one deal. There's that one deal for that 65-inch TV. And if you get that 65-inch TV, yeah, that's a great deal, and you're gonna hold on to that for a while. But the 65-inch TVs are the first ones to sell out. And that's the Sauce Gardners and the Quinnen Williams of the world. Those were the big time deals that were made during the deadline. The other deals are, they're drones. Hey, a drone is cool. But you can only, use a drone so much. So fans are really, like I said, it started with the Minnesota Vikings loss, and the ball started rolling in the manner that they lost, coming off of the bye. It was a very bad loss, and then before we get to our next game, we got the trade deadline, and fans watch Brad Holmes, essentially sit on his hands. My favorite thing coming out of this trade deadline that I heard was somebody saying, well, you don't know what offers they had and what he turned down and who he was calling about and this and that, which bothers me when people go that route. But
I'm sure we're going to hear from Brad Holmes that it was just nothing available.
I told you, man. We looked at the market, and just it didn't add up with the value of the player and our lot. Yeah, we're gonna hear it at the end of the season. Don't ask me.
Detroit basketball.